Okay, everyone, we'll call this meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. McKenna?
Here.
Mr. Diakopoulos?
Here.
Mr. Dice?
Here.
Mr. Olszewski?
Here.
Mr. Stepanovich?
Here.
Mrs. Lee?
Present.
Mr. Lemak?
Here.
Mayor Simon?
Here.
Thank you, Verdale. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Nestico, do we have any unlisted amendments this evening?
None for this evening.
Okay. That brings us to our consent calendar items. Any questions or concerns about the consent calendar items? Hearing none, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve consent calendar items A through C.
Second.
Thank you, Jamie and Mac. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Consent calendar items are unanimous. That brings us to comments by the mayor. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Dice. I think they're going to be put up there. They're up already. First one is glass recycling pop-up collection event, Saturday, June 28th, 2025, Veterans Field, which is right over here. Mic's not working. There it goes. Okay. Residents are also encouraged to support the Loaves and Fishes Emergency Food Pantry by donating non-perishable food items. Food pantry volunteers will be at the pavilion accepting drive-through donations during the same hours. The sponsors for this event are the municipality of Murraysville and Republic Services. Tuesdays at Townsend, save the date, free live performances in the park. The two in June are June 10th and the 24th. Again, they're in Townsend Park over here off Townsend Park Court, right over here in the hill. June 10th is Common Ground Acoustic Blazing, Hibachi on Wheels, Connie Creek Brewing. Any cancellation will be posted on Facebook event page and our website, MurraysvillePARecreation.com. Farmers markets start tonight. Live music, weekly food trucks, local vendors, and more. Thursdays from 3 to 7. One other item I have that I just want to bring you up to date on, we had to cancel the last meeting. I did do a proclamation to the mayor of the municipality of Murraysville, Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, proclamation number 228-25. It was to designate the week of May 18th to the 24th, 25 as Emergency Medical Services Week. And that concludes my report.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Mayor. That brings us to comments by the Chief Administrator, Mr. Nestico.
No comments for this evening.
Okay, that brings us to community input. Verdale, can we see if anyone signed up? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, yeah, we have several individuals tonight, so we'll just go in order. Can we start with Carl DiPietro, and please just say your name and address for the record.
Hey, good evening. My name is Carl DiPietro. I reside at 2575 Linda Drive here in Murraysville, and I want to thank the council for giving me a couple minutes here. I'm a backyard beekeeper, and I've kept the bees for over 10 years. I have 3 hives, and they are registered with the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, and that registration will run out at the end of this year. I was recently cited for a code violation in order to keep honeybees according to the code enforcement people. They classify honeybees as livestock, like with horses and cows and pigs. And they say that you need 10 acres to keep the bees. And there was an anonymous letter sent to the code, the code people, the code enforcement people. So I contacted my neighbors. They're wonderful people, and they're here right now. And these are my neighbors and my friends, and they're not anonymous. These are real people They are property owners, they are taxpayers, and they are voters who are my neighbors. These people have gone on record, as opposed to this anonymous complaint that they don't know who wrote it, they don't know who sent it, they don't know how to respond to it. But these people have taken their time to be here tonight and have gone on record to support my beekeeping. I've also done some volunteer work in the community. I have done work at the Mother of Sorrows Catholic School for the Brownies, and I've did a presentation for them. And, I brought my stuff in, and I showed the little girls, all the bee stuff, the hive tool and the smoker, and answered all their questions. And, I have a letter from Nicole Ioli, signed by 10 of the Brownie Scouts moms in support of my beekeeping. And I have also done work in some public schools, some inner city schools. I went into Homewood schools, and the kindergarten teacher, who happens to be with me here tonight, Samantha Edmonds, and I did for 2 or 3 years at my own expense, just to demonstrate to children, the importance of bees. And there, Miss Edmonds has a letter. I know I only got 3 minutes, so I'm not going to read it, but maybe she'll read it. I also have letters from the folks that are here, my good neighbors, and I'll just read you the addresses, because they took their time to sign these things. Doug and Kelly Ament. Doug's here. He is my neighbor directly to my right of my home. He's at 2393 Linda. Carol and Dave Donaldson. They're my neighbors directly across the street from me at 2578 Linda. Beverly Bela. Beverly took her time to come here tonight and support my bees and support beekeeping in our neighborhood. She's at 2571 Linda, directly to my left. Greg Giovito, my neighbor at 3320 Mayor, he's directly behind me. Mark DiPietro, my son, he lives on 2403 Francis, which is up there, and in fairness, he had to sign, or I would have wrote him out of the will. Joe Pradanovich and his wife Deborah. Joe's here. He's my neighbor right down the street, 3321 Mayor. Brent Laird, he's also my neighbor on Mayor, 3335. Katerina Zeiss at 2619 Linda, and Cody Sensi and Michelle Sensi at 2623 Linda. So you're getting a message. These are all the people in my neighborhood, not anonymous. They've gone on record to support my beekeeping in the neighborhood. And they get something for it, too. Oh, okay. Christine and John Salton, 2582 Linda. Carolina Zokasilny, and I butchered her name, but she's a very nice girl, and she's at 2574 Linda. Brady Yurko at 2580 Linda. Bob and Renee Myers, they're at 3337 Mayor. Good neighbors. Of course, me and Kathy. And I suspect my wife is the one who wrote the anonymous letter to keep me out of here. So we got a problem, but I'm not coming here with a problem without offering a solution, okay? I have in my possession a model ordinance for the beekeeping of honeybees in Pennsylvania municipalities, okay? And I'm willing to share this with the counselor and even help them implement it. But what it does, it draws a distinction between a backyard beekeeper who has 2 or 3 hives and a commercial beekeeper who has 60 or 70 hives. Okay, if you have 70 hives, yeah, you need 10 acres. But you don't need 10 acres for a box that's this big and this high that you can have in your backyard. This model legislation has been endorsed and developed by the Pennsylvania Beekeepers Association, the Penn State Center for Pollination and Research, the Pennsylvania Apiary Advisory Board, and the Westmoreland County Beekeepers Association, of which I'm a member. And in addition, there's also a code of conduct that emphasizes ethical and responsible beekeeping practices. Honeybees are the only insects that provide something for man. Show 'em, please.
My favorite honeybee.
Honey, okay? And every third bite of food that we take comes from a honeybee. And so what I'm asking the board to do is give this to the solicitor, and I'll work with you, to distinguish between residential beekeepers and commercial beekeepers. 85% of the beekeepers in Pennsylvania have 5 hives or less. You know what I mean? It's like a hobby. Okay.
Absolutely, sir, and I can say, if you'll give that to our solicitor, Mr. Long, we'll take a look at it and we'll further investigate, because obviously, I even know from a code enforcement perspective, the definitions of livestock and poultry and all that gets real specific. So, yeah, if you have a copy you can give to Wes or email to us, we'll happily take a look.
Does anybody need this? I'll just give it to you right now. Now come forward.
I would gladly take them, please.
Here you are. Thank you, and
And
thank you.
Carl, one question. In the anonymous letter, what was his argument?
He,
Did he get stung?
The code enforcement, and very, very kind and professional, Miss Chevy Nave, was very kind and professional. She told me what the violation was. No, there was no reason that they gave to keep me from having my 2 honeybee hives. But, however, if one of these people would come to me and say, Carl, how about getting rid of your bees? They're bothering me. I would do it. I wouldn't have to go through you guys. I mean, I'm not that kind of guy. And you know what? We got a great neighborhood. I mean, I give them honey. Bob gives me peppers. Dave gives me bread. I mean, we got a good back and forth going here. Okay? And I'm going to just say it again. They're not anonymous. These are real people in my neighborhood who are taxpayers, voters, and property owners. Thank you very kindly.
How long have you been doing that?
Yeah, I was just.
I've been doing it for 10 years. I mean, yeah, I get stung, but so what? One day they're going to tell you that that's good for you. And I've been doing it 10 years, but I've only moved here 6 years ago. I used to do it in Greensburg.
So you've been doing it since you moved onto that property.
Yes, I have.
And just out of curiosity, how much acreage do you have?
I have 1 acre.
1 acre. Okay.
Now, the model legislation, and you can amend that however you see fit. I mean, you could make it half an acre, or you could limit the number of colonies that a backyard beekeeper can have. You know, if I had 50 or 60 colonies, yeah, I'd need the 10 acres. But, you know, I'm out there barbecuing and the bees are right there. It's no big deal.
So were you
Thank you
asked
for your
to,
question.
were you asked to stop? Or what was the request?
Well, I'm in violation of the codes. The codes say I need 10 acres. I mean, I don't know who can move to Murraysville today and find 10 acres, you know?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say he was asked to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in violation of the codes. And that's why I've come to you guys and asked you to distinguish between the residential, backyard, and commercial beekeeper with that model language.
Mr. Dice, if
Yeah,
I may,
absolutely.
just to provide some clarification, I believe you're in an R2 district, which, I guess I'll take one step back. The issue that we're confronting here is that it is in our zoning ordinance. It's not just a regular municipal ordinance. It's carved away in our zoning ordinance, which adds a layer of complication as opposed to just implementing an ordinance next week at council's meeting about beekeeping and the requirements and the regulations with it. We would have to amend our zoning ordinance if council were to modify anything as it relates to, it falls under the livestock category.
Yeah.
It specifically mentions bees as you discussed.
Oh, okay.
But it is in an R2 district, which is a conditional use. So I mean, I believe that there is an appeal mechanism that he could come forward and attempt to, gain approval for that type of a use, even though he does have 1 acre. So, and kind of in a sidebar here with the solicitor, the discussion was maybe he should appeal the zoning violation notice. I believe that's probably what was sent to him.
Yeah,
Appeal it timely.
okay.
Carl. You have to appeal it timely, or you could find yourself boxed in. So I don't know how long ago you got the notice, but you have 30 days to file an appeal, which would then go to the Planning Commission and ultimately back to this council on a conditional use basis. Okay? Now, a conditional use is fundamentally a permitted use, but council has the right to put conditions on it. But please timely file your appeal to preserve your rights.
I've been made aware of the, they call it a variance.
Now, you're not seeking a variance,
No.
sir. You would be filing an appeal regarding a conditional use that would go to the Planning Commission and then to this, to the Murraysville Council. Not a variance to
Okay.
the zoning hearing board.
And I would file that appeal with the zoning board?
You would file the appeal through the municipality here. You can file it with the zoning hearing board, but they would refer it to the Planning Commission.
So
You have to do that within 30 days.
I think the most important thing is if you have received that, just make sure you appeal it, and then it will be before this council, and we can figure it out with you and make everything okay. And in the meantime, while that's all figured out, I think we should investigate potentially amending our ordinances to kind of maybe differentiate between the backyard beekeepers and the larger beekeeper operations that require 10 acres. So I get what you're saying, Wes, definitely. That letter, please appeal it, ASAP, just to preserve any and all rights you may have. And on the other front, we'll look into potentially amending our zoning ordinance. And I get it, that's a more in-depth process than, just amending some random ordinance. But we should still investigate it, because I will say, I've heard about beekeeping in Murraysville, not even in a negative way, but people asking about it, what are the rules? So maybe it's something we should investigate. Yep.
Please file your appeal.
Okay, thank you kindly.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to, I believe, Roberta Jones.
Yes, good evening, council. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Roberta Jones. I live at 4030 Norbertrol Court. I married into Murraysville 27 years ago. I have been a beekeeper in Murraysville for 27 years. So I'm here supporting Carl in his enthusiasm, but I think that I really would like to help support the way to get the zoning changed. And I'm more than happy to crack that door open and maybe see what other municipalities have done in creating the hobby beekeeper. Municipalities of our size, maybe Penn Township, West Greensburg, to help do this, because I really want to keep on keeping bees, whether I have 2 hives or I have 1.5 acres. Sometimes, depending on how much my hives love the queen, it can vary from 2 hives to 6 hives. But as you know, people are concerned about the bees and the bee health and how beneficial they are. And we really want to meet your rules too, but I think that, as Carl said, a hobby beekeeper is much different than a commercial beekeeper. And as Mr. Dice said, there are a lot of beekeepers in Murraysville, and I said to Carl, if you're going, I'm going too, because I have bees also. But I live in a transitional area, not an R2 area. And I was so surprised when he got cited. I'm like, I've been doing this for 27 years. Nobody's ever complained about me, And I bribe my neighbors too. But we really would like to work with council with evidence-based process and other municipalities and get their rules and regulations and get them to council for a review. Because I know you can get a variance, but we want to do it the right way. And everybody shouldn't have to come and ask for a variance to have a hobby beekeeping, I've gone to Cornell for the master beekeeping class. I mentor a lot of people. We beekeepers really do give to the community. I teach every class I can for the Murraysville Historic Society. We go to schools. We teach kids beekeeping. We want people to be really concerned about the environment and about their community. So we're more than willing to work with council to bring that evidence-based information to you to see what is available out there and what other municipalities have done.
Okay.
So thank you for the 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the information, your expertise. So that brings us to Mr. Bob Myers.
I'm Carl's neighbor, Bob Myers, 3337 Mayor Drive. Thanks for taking the time to hear from me. Before Carl, I've been here since '91. Before Carl moved here, I knew nothing of beekeeping, zero. And as you can see, I can't add a lot to what he said, but I can tell you, he knows a lot about beekeeping, and he's educated me quite a bit. And one interesting story, my kids had allergies. I raised 3 kids here, and now I have 3 grandkids. But doctor after doctor, right, getting pinpricks, and of course they're going to tell you you're allergic to everything, so they can keep you going there. So Carl said, local bee honey is good for allergies. So Carl's, he said, I grow peppers, and he gives me honey. So I tried it, and it worked. I'd also add, so it was very helpful for my kids. It solved a big problem. But Carl's house is impeccable. He has the nicest yard in the neighborhood, the nicest flowers. Sorry, I don't want to insult any other neighbors, but it's impeccable. And these boxes are like 3 by 3 boxes. They're white boxes. I drive around Murraysville. There's hundreds. I see a lot of them. And the sad thing, we had this lady come up and talk. If Carl can't keep his bees, right, then the consistent point of view from council would be that no one can keep their bees. So do you notice in the Penn Franklin and say, hey, everybody, if I don't have 10 acres, I can't have bees. And that's really the track you'd have to go. So the anonymous letter that comes to say Carl's bees must go, honestly, it's BS. Carl's bees don't bother anybody. I've never had one bee, 6 years you've been here? I've never had one bee bite one bee in my yard from Carl, and I live probably a sandwich away from Carl's house. So it really is a non-issue. Kids are everywhere. They're not bothered by the bees. And again, it actually solved one of my kids' health problems. So all I can say is that he is the perfect backyard beekeeper. And I really, really would like to see him be able to keep his bees. And as you can tell, he's into his bees. So if he had to get rid of his bees, I don't know what we're going to do with Carl. You'll be lost. So anyway, all kidding aside, his place is spotless. And these little boxes are not intrusive at all. Like, you don't even see them. So that's what I have to add to this. I thank you for your time, and hopefully Carl can get a good outcome.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to Alyssa DeLuca.
Hello. My name's Alyssa DeLuca. I live at 4113 Tartan Court, just in Heather Highlands, right up there. Carl's been a friend of my family's for over 50 years, I think. So to say he's a good man would be an understatement. He's a good man. He's a rule follower. Comes from a great family. Now, I didn't write a letter, so I wanted to come up just to, for the record, to state my support of Carl's Bees. He gives honey to his friends and family, as we've heard multiple times now. But he never asks for anything in return. He's not making a profit. He's not doing anything under the table. It just purely provides him pleasure. And isn't that what we all want, really? Creating this sense of community in Murraysville, I would argue, is what Murraysville is about. So I am here on the record to state that I support Carl's Bees, his beekeeping, and to keep on keeping on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That brings us to Joseph Perdanovich, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Perdanovich. I reside at 3321 Mayor Drive. I will admit my yard does not look anything like Carl's. I'm probably on the other end of that spectrum. But I do want to provide like a firsthand account of how I think by not allowing Carl to have the bees would do a disservice to our community. The one day my nieces and I, we were on a walk down the street. They noticed, the bees in the backyard, and they ultimately were asking, hey, what are those boxes doing back there? I mentioned, Carl had some bees, and they were like, oh, that's really cool. And I said, you know what, maybe we can go and ask, Carl if he can show us the hives. So out of the blue, we knocked on the front door. Carl came to the door and said, yeah, absolutely, he'd love to, show us the bees and everything. So he got him suited up in the bee garbs, and, we took pictures and different things and had a really good time, observing the bees. He, as Mr. Myers mentioned, loves to share the knowledge. He even allowed me to read a bee book that he has I probably didn't return that book for a couple months, just looking through it. Ultimately, he's kind of inspired, me to look into potentially, also having a bee, become a backyard beekeeper. Ultimately, I don't have any bees in my, hive, so please don't be coming and knocking on my door yet. But, one day I would love to ultimately have some, bees in my backyard as well, just for, a lot of the health benefits and a couple of different items. So, I would say that it would ultimately be a disservice to our community if, Carl ultimately wouldn't be able to keep the bees in his backyard. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that brings us to Mr. Doug Ament.
Hi, thanks for taking my time. I'm Doug Ament. I live at 2593 Linda Drive in Murraysville. I'm Carl's neighbor, next door neighbor, and my house is actually the closest to the beehives. When I'm cutting my grass, I'm within 15 feet of them, and they've been there for a long time. We've never had any problems with them at all. So I just wanted to come here and support Carl and Kathy in their, effort to try to save his bees. We have guests over, and they like to come and check out the bees. I'm oftentimes just go over and look at them. You can just stand right outside the hives, and they're coming and going. They get a little, they don't like you when you get too close to them, but they don't sting you. They just kind of hit you in the head. It's kind of funny, but it's interesting. It's fun to watch. It's a good hobby. We like the bees so much, and this is true. Everybody's talking about how nice their yards are. I actually stopped putting weed and feed on our backyard so the clover would grow. Because the bees come in and they just love the clover. And it's just kind of fun to walk through the yard and see all the bees doing their thing with the clover. So I just want to come in and just say that I enjoy them. They're very close to my house. They cause me no problems at all. And it's fun that the hobby goes on.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, sir. Absolutely. Okay, that brings us to Mr. Dave Donaldson.
Hi, I'm Dave Donaldson, 2578 Linda Drive. I'm directly across the street from Carl and Kathy's. And at first, when they first moved in, I didn't even realize the beehives were even there. But there's certainly a benefit. I have a large garden in my backyard, and I can't prove it, but I'm in the garden in close proximity within inches of the bees while I'm weeding and so forth. And I think they're Carl's because I've never been stung, so they're very friendly. So, and another note, I just wonder whether collectively, with the number of people here, that maybe we have 10 acres collectively and around his home, that maybe we could go together and have a co-op.
There you go. I like
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Okay, next up we have Samantha Edmonds.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am not a resident of Murraysville. I live in Pittsburgh, but I come to you from an educator perspective. I've been an educator for 10 years. I had written a letter for Carl that I'm just going to read to you tonight.
Thank you.
I'm writing to you so that you will consider all that Carl DiPietro contributes to his family, neighbors, and community through his beekeeping. With his honeybees, Carl has donated his time and energy to help educate the youth on their importance. When I taught kindergarten at an elementary school in the Homewood neighborhood of Pittsburgh, Carl committed time to plan and prepare for several bee presentations at no cost to our school. He came into our school for several hours and gave multiple bee presentations over the course of 3 years. This excited our learners and brought a meaningful connection to our classroom projects in the spring. Carl brought in many tools, which made it a high-interest presentation for our students. Weeks after the presentation, while outside, one of my kindergartners saw another student swatting at a bee and shared that the bee was looking for pollen and not trying to hurt him. This was a moment that was the result of Carl's dedication to teaching the youth about honeybees. When I taught first grade at an elementary school in the North Allegheny School District during the 2020-2021 school year, Carl was not able to come in person to do a presentation due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Even so, he let me come and record some videos in front of his hives and bring information to my students in a creative way that year. Carl was so generous with his knowledge and resources and truly is passionate about sharing information and excitement about honeybees. My students could not stop talking about what they had learned about bees, which led to the students requesting to do a bee project. We made a honeycomb out of recycled materials and wrote about what they learned from the bee presentation and after they did their own research. As an educator of 10 years, I cannot communicate enough just how meaningful these hands-on experiences are for our youth and the importance of students finding joy and curiosity in their learning. Carl gives honey to his family, friends, neighbor, and his community. More than anything, it is important to him to share his passion and respect for bees with others. He is modeling what it means to teach and serve his community through example. He has several nieces, nephews, and grandchildren that continue to learn from him what it means to care for our environment and our communities. I hope you will truly consider all that Carl contributes through his beekeeping. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's wonderful. Thank you. No one else has signed up for the good of the order. Would anyone else like to speak? Okay. Yeah, please, sir. Just state your name and address for the record. Yeah, absolutely.
My name's Dean DeLuca. I live at 1014 Timberwood Court here in Murraysville. I've paid taxes for 33 years here. Love it here. And I've known Carl and some other friends here for probably a good 50 years. He first turned me on to the bees when he was living in Greensburg. I've been to numerous parties. Kathy's a great cook. Numerous parties at both their houses in Greensburg and here, and guaranteed I have not been stung any more than 20 times ever. No, never stung. Only a joke. But Carl is he didn't expound more than bees. He's a great gardener too. So not only does he give us honey, which my wife loves, and she begs me every time I go golfing with Carl, ask Carl if he has any honey. Not only does he give that, great gardener and abundant crops that he also gives out. So anyway, supporting Carl in his beekeeping. Thank you.
All right. Wonderful, sir. Thank you. Okay, so absolutely, folks, message received. We'll look into that. We'll investigate our ordinance, and we'll definitely be reaching out to some individuals about maybe information they have and just how we can better accommodate this in our community. So,
Sure.
Yeah, Wes, something you want to?
Nothing
Oh,
additional.
sorry. Okay, so I believe we are done with community input unless anyone else would like to speak. And I'll also say, if anyone wants to leave, we're going to get into our regular agenda, so thank you. Yeah, oh yeah, take care, everyone. Thank you. Yep.
Make sure you appeal.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Wow.
Some great neighbors.
Absolutely.
I said, well, but what makes you a beekeeper? Like, I've got bees in my...
Yeah.
I didn't want to go public, but I was going to ask for some honey, but.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just right with you.
It sounds like you need it, right?
I need it, yeah.
I said, I feel like a beekeeper when I go out on my back porch. I don't even try.
No pun intended.
Bring the honeycomb.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was pretty good.
Yep. So, and I think the first few are simple enough that we can just kind of get into it. So the first is simply, if you turn to our action items, we have no workshop items this evening. Oh, excuse me, you're right. Let's do our liaison comment reports, and let's start at this end. Jason,
The library, I had an event that I had to attend. I couldn't attend the last library meeting. The next one is the 19th of June.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Carl?
Medic One met on May 22nd. The statistics are 1,422 ambulance details, of which 140 were based out of the Washington Township facility. Their prescriptions are at 23.45%, which is a little low. There was a remount returned to Arkansas. Well, one was returned back to Murraysville. In the same sense, the second remount was driven down to Arkansas. The Allegheny Health, the medical insurance for the staff has been totally converted to Allegheny Health from UPMC. Just an interesting note that the smaller communities that lost their first responders, Salzburg is signed up to the extent of 30%, which is really a good response to that. Next meeting is June 19th. And one final thing, you may have seen it in the Penn Franklin, but Derek Gennaro was made an award, and this was he one of two in the county who received a first responder recognition award, which is a good thing for him and Medic One. There was a meeting on, actually, what is today? On Monday of the Murraysville Parks and Recreation Foundation. Quite a bit was discussed about disc golf, if you will. Disc golf is frisbees, if you will. One thing was interesting, the location, I had presumed it would be in and around Murraysville Community Park. It's actually across the street from Westertown, going back behind the nature preserve there, the wetlands. And actually, the disc golf would probably be accessed from the dog park. A gross estimate is that it would be in the range, give or take $10,000 of $60,000. The hope is that it would be fully operational by 2026. To recoup some of the money from that, the foundation would offer advertisements for both the tees and the nets, if you will, that catch the frisbees. DJ Capizzuto was elected acting president. The fund balance was $104,761. There was a philanthropist in attendance, and he is looking to donate anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to Duff Park. There also, one of the projects being looked at is shade structures in Murraysville Community Park. If you've ever been there with any of your children or grandchildren around the splash pad, it's a nice thing, but it does lack shade structures, and that would be looked at. That's it.
Wonderful, thank you, Carl. Matt?
Yep. Just to piggyback on Carl with Derek at Medic One, Murraysville Medic One, just a huge thank you. My daughter and her friends started a babysitting thing for the summer, all high school kids, and they wanted to do CPR and first aid, and I reached out to them, and they brought in a whole group of girls, taught them all. I actually took it again with them, and it was just great that, like, everyone there at Medic One was so nice to the girls and gave their time and whatnot. So huge shout out to them. They do great work there, and really appreciate it. As far as Parks and Recreation, the meeting coming up, it would be the second Tuesday of this month. But the last meeting, we've had some really good scouts come in. Got some great scout projects going on, which we're excited about. Getting some signage in. They're going to clean up some of that Skeena Reserve and whatnot. So we have a lot of good things going on with the scouts. They've really been going crazy. They've been doing a lot of planning, a lot of work. So we're excited about that. I was actually present for the presentation from the gentleman that presented what the disc golf, like, he's walked all that property, carved out, had it mapped out, showing us what it would be. Really, really cool. Like, I never knew really what it was. It's an area that's not really used out there, and if anyone wants to go look, North Huntington, a Nike site road by where the soccer fields used to be, Ocala Park, that's one of the go-to disc golf courses, and pretty neat. So if you ever want to check it out, please do so. And then the only other thing is we have a lot of stuff going on for the summer with Parks and Recreation, so check out the website, make sure you attend things. Tuesdays at Townsend is a great community event for people that have a great time, and just bring your chairs, listen to music, and hang out if it's nice out. So that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Jamie?
Hey, Planning Commission met on May 13th, and they discussed, it'll be coming up in agenda item 14A, the Ruth Jabrowski plan, which is a subdivision. There was some discussion concerning the existing structures, and there's kind of an odd shape, but some of the structures are important to their family, so they wanted to keep that within the subdividing. And Planning Commission had said if the structures were pre-existing, then they could stay. The other item that was discussed was SP 1-25, the Summerhill Phase 2. They had voted to move it on to council, and I believe that there were 4 or 5 conditions that still had to be met when it's brought before us. And that was it. And there is no Planning Commission meeting this month. It's been canceled.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jamie. Matt?
And for the EAC, first line item was Summerhill application that Jamie just referred to under the old business, but it was landscaping compliance. This was the topic of discussion. And the second item was the communications tower application was reviewed. No comments were really made on the topic. And then the next meeting is end of June.
Okay, wonderful. Eli?
Yeah, the pension committee met last month, gave an update. It's not meeting again for about 6 weeks from now. So
Okay, wonderful. Okay, thank you. I was not able to attend the FDMSA meeting, but I did attend the Boy Scout Troop 208 flag retirement ceremony at the White Valley AMVETS. It was a really great ceremony just to see that group of young guys just really showing the respect for the flag, and it seemed very heartfelt on their behalf, so it was really nice to be there. And I'll also say that Bob McKenna was there, as he should be.
King of flags.
Oh, wonderful, awesome, wow.
Yep. He's got a lot of flags to retire.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so that would end our liaison comments. Thank you, Jamie, for reminding me, and we will now get back to our action items, as we have no workshop items. 13A is simply to advertise for openings on the Code Enforcement Board of Appeals. Can I have a motion, please?
Yeah, a motion to advertise for openings on the Code Enforcement Board of Appeals.
Second.
Let's go Eli and Matt. Pretty self-explanatory. We need positions filled. Michael, anything to add?
No, just kind of resurrecting the Board of Appeals is necessary for the municipality. If there were any appeal issues relating to building permits or construction violations, things like that, the Board of Appeals should be in place to hear those matters. So I'd like to bring this board back and find candidates for filling it.
Okay, wonderful. Council, questions, concerns? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, everyone. 13A is unanimous. Can I have a motion for 13B, please?
13B, consider advertisement of ordinance number 1094-24, the amended 2025 salary ordinance.
Why is that a different number?
I will say it's different in the briefing summary and on the agenda. It says amended salary ordinance, so we're okay, but we do maybe need to determine, it's definitely not 24, actually.
Yeah, it's 1103 of 25, so I apologize, it was probably a copy and paste area.
Yes, it would be 25.
So, Carl, your motion would reflect that the ordinance number that we're advertising would be 1103-25?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Was there a second?
Second.
Matt, thank you. So, Carl and Matt, this is a yearly salary ordinance that we have to pass. Michael, anything to add?
Yes, first I apologize for the typo in the briefing there. I didn't catch that. That is the original salary ordinance. The amended version will have a new number, 1103. And this is to address two items within the municipality. Coming into the year, we removed the Assistant Finance Director position from the salary ordinance. After assessing things internally, we'd like to bring that position back and consider filling it as a way to supplement the finance department. We have been looking for a third individual to fill the role in the finance department. We think that we found a quality candidate that would fit better as an assistant finance director, and so that would be one of the two reasons for the amended ordinance. The second is to consider adding the position of lieutenant to the police department. The police command staff currently does not have a lieutenant. We have 4 sergeants, but in talking with the chief and the mayor and having some extensive dialogue, we have given some thought to potentially testing from within the sergeant ranks to fill that lieutenant position to kind of formalize the full command structure within the police department. The lieutenant position would oversee the other 3 sergeants, and again, it would create a nice chain of command within the department. And so, and it would be a minimal cost annually in the budget because the salary increase from sergeant to lieutenant is roughly around $2,800 annually. So, and we would not be filling a new sergeant position, so it would just be simply a promotion from within. So those are the 2 items that would be addressed through the amended salary ordinance.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Council, questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none,
was there a lieutenant before position? Okay, it's being reinstated, okay. Yep.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 13B is unanimous as well. That brings us to 14A. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to consider approval of the Ruth Gabrowski Plan Number 2, Subdivision S-1-25, a subdivision plan proposing to subdivide Westmoreland County Tax Map Number 49-07-00-0-230, a 7.062 acre tract located along Maymont Road in 2 lots in the RR zoning district.
Second.
Thank you, Matt and Jamie. Michael? anything?
Yes, as the motion indicates, it's just over a 7-acre lot. It would be divided into 2 lots. One would be just over 5 acres and the other just over 2 acres. So the 2-acre lot is the current house. There's a shed and a corn crib on that lot. The new lot, the 5-acre tract, does not have any new residences proposed on it. There are no structures on it. So as Councilwoman Ling indicated earlier, this did go before the Planning Commission. They worked out some of the kinks with the subdivision itself, and it was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission at their May 13th meeting. Staff did review everything, and other than some minor technical adjustments that were addressed by the applicant during the planning phase, everything looks good, and so staff recommends approval of this item.
Wonderful. Questions or concerns from council? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 14A is unanimous. That brings us to 14B. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 799-25, a resolution amending the Municipality of Murraysville Act 537 plan for sanitary sewer extension to the existing sanitary system, the Meadowwink Golf Club, tax parcel 49-06-00-0-075.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Jason and Carl. Michael?
Yes, under the DEP consent decree with the sewage authority, we are required to adopt a resolution anytime we amend the Act 537 plan, which occurs when we add additional EDUs, equivalent dwelling units, into the sewage system. In this case, this is for the Meadowwink Golf Club located on Bulltown Road. The proposed work at the golf club is to tie the swimming pool and the pool house in the northern section of the property into the existing sanitary system. So This has been reviewed by the engineering department, and everything looks good from our end, so staff recommends approval, and this resolution would allow for the golf club to tie into the sewage system.
Okay, awesome.
Question, Michael, does this indicate that the swim club, Murraysville Swim Club, will not open this year?
No, I can't say that I know that answer, but I haven't been given that indication at all, so.
It probably will.
Murraysville Swim Club is a separate entity from Meadowink.
Did I say Murraysville?
Mhm.
I meant Meadowink.
I understood you, and I can say that I don't know whether it will impact their opening or their operations, but that has not been indicated to us that it would be. So,
I think it's just the golf.
right now, I believe it's an on-lot system, so I would imagine that they could do all the work and then tie in at the very end, and they probably can still maintain operations, but I don't know that answer.
Okay, any, Jamie, question?
No, I was just gonna say, I thought it just had to do with the golf course and not the,
I think it's
reversed.
Yeah, it's actually the swim club. that there's,
okay, I was wondering because I know that there's been a lot of discussion on Facebook about that.
And I think the golf course is already tied into
Yeah.
the sewer,
So I'm kind of
sewage.
confused that
Correct.
it's.
The property is the Meadowink Golf
That's what it's
Club. It's
called.
located
Okay.
on the
Right.
golf
Right.
club property, but it
Right.
is the pool and the pool house on the northern section of the golf course. So the actual applicant is Bushy Run Investments, which is the corporation that owns the entire lot there, including the golf course.
Mhm. Okay. Any other questions or concerns? No. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right, 14B is unanimous. Can I have a motion for 15A, please?
Motion to award the contract to Gibson Thomas Engineering for inspection services for the 2025 overlay project in the amount not to exceed $34,850.
Thank you, Jamie and Eli. Michael, I think the briefing says we did do an RFP for this, and they were the only and the lowest responsible bidder?
That is correct.
Okay, so that makes it somewhat simple, and Gibson Thomas does a great job, so that's wonderful. Any questions or concerns about 15A? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 15A is unanimous. That brings us
bless.
to, bless you. 15B, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to award the contract to Russell Standard for the 2025 road surface treatment project in the amount of $159,489.
Second.
Thank you, Jamie and Jason. Michael?
Yes, we received two bids for the project. Russell Standard was the low bidder. The other bidder was Midland Asphalt at $191,000. All proper information was provided, and a portion of Sardis Road from Salzburg to Maymont is going to be treated with the fiber mat and fog seal. And this project was included in the 2025 CIP with an approved budget of $225,000. So coming in under budget is always a positive.
Okay, wonderful. Any questions or concerns from council? No. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 15B is unanimous. And then lastly, can I have a motion for 16A, please?
I'll make a motion to advertise for bids for the sale of used municipal vehicles and equipment.
Second.
Thank you, Mac and Jamie. Michael, anything specific to add?
Just briefly, the vehicles, quick rundown, are a 1-ton dump truck, 1-ton flatbed, a police vehicle, light tower, which is the mobile trailer with the lights on, an air compressor, and the tractor that was used, Sardis Park. And the Public Works Director estimates a return of around $60,000 for the lot of items. So we'll see. It was listed for bid, and we'll see how things play out.
Okay, wonderful. Any questions or concerns about the items to be sold? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it is unanimous. Any old or new business for anyone? All right. I think we should announce, we did have an executive session to start the meeting for purposes of litigation, personnel. Was there anything else, Michael? Real estate, I believe, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, as far as the executive session, no, that's all.
Okay, so there will be no executive session after. Can I have a motion?
Are we doing Bob, or are we pushing that?
We're going to push it if he's not here, I say.
Pushing Bob.
Yeah, push that. That's what I think. So, yeah, we'll be pushing Volunteer of the Year. We will get that done.
It's his birthday today, maybe.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Heard that. Somebody sent me a text.
He's probably in Mexico. Okay, so we need one more motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Jamie and Matt. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody.